Welcome to Metalwani. This is Whitek here with legendary Marcus Siepen of Blind Guardian. How are you doing, sir?
I'm perfectly fine. Thank you.
And I gotta tell you this, that Beyond the Red Mirror, highly anticipated album of 2015, how excited and nervous are you feeling right now for this album?
Actually, I'm rather relaxed because I'm very self-confident, and I think we did a great album, and the great thing is, I read a couple of reviews on the internet already. I saw a couple of reviews in magazines that were published already. Yesterday I saw a review on Blabbermouth, and all the reviews so far are pretty overwhelming. Everybody is talking about the fact that we did our masterpiece, and that sounds very nice, I have to say. Obviously, whenever you do a new album, you try to do your best. Sometimes you achieve it, sometimes you fail, whatever. But I think, in my opinion, I think I can say it's the best album we did so far. I know it sounds like a typical cliche kind of answer because everybody will tell you that it's the best thing they ever did. But I really mean it. Believe it or not, I mean it. And as I said, the reviews that I've seen so far are pretty overwhelming. Everybody says it's awesome. And I'm really looking forward to the release day when actually the fans can give it a try and we get their feedback. And obviously I can't wait to go on tour and play that stuff live because that's the ultimate feedback. Whenever you go on stage and you see a couple of thousand people going nuts when you start playing, that's the absolute highlight about being a musician.
Absolutely. Now the very important thing we have here are the fans. Now, you released the first single from the album earlier this month, that is Twilight of the Gods. So, how have been the response from the fans? And you also released few trailers as well on YouTube. So, how have the fans responded in general?
Very, very well. The song Twilight of the Gods, the single that we put out, I think it's one of the more typical Blind Guardian songs on the album, which still has lots of new elements, but the basic thing, it's one of the typical Blind Guardian aggressive speed metal songs.
Right.
It has a very dark atmosphere. One of the new things we tried on the new album is very down-tuned guitars. That's something that we never used so far. And in a couple of songs, I think 4 or 5 songs, we used those very down-tuned guitars, which give those songs a very dark sound, dark atmosphere. And this song is a good example for this. It has, in general, a very dark atmosphere, which is broken up by the chorus, which sounds very positive in contrast to the rest of the song. That's something that I like a lot. That there's this movement in the atmosphere, in the character of the song. And the response for that song has been very good so far. Same for the internet trailers. I think that's something that our fans in general like a lot. That they can actually get an impression about what we're doing in the studio. Because, obviously, normally when a band works in the studio, nobody really gets to see it because, it's not a public place where people come by and, just check in and see what we're doing.
True.
Normally all this happens behind closed doors. And with those internet videos and links that we can do, people get a kind of insight about, what we are doing, how we are doing things, and what they can expect. Obviously, we're not putting out the complete songs in those video trailers, but they get elements. They get an idea. Okay, this is how the guitars will sound like. This is the direction that they're going. Oh, there's orchestra, and they're doing this and that and whatever. And the response, especially for those video kind of things, has been amazing. People love it. And I think it's a good thing. That's what the internet is perfect for. You can spread information about anything you want to spread, worldwide in a very simple way. You just put it on your website, put it on your YouTube channel, whatever, and people all over the world have immediate access. That's perfect.
That's right. It connects the band with the fans, and that's very important.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Now 3 decades, and you just don't seem to fail. The fans saying that okay, Blind Guardian is coming up with an average album, but that never happens. So for me, it's safe as a fan to call Blind Guardian as a well-oiled German machine.
I like that. That sounds nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you guys just don't surprise us. You still sound fresh. There's never been an album like, we feel that, okay, the band has rehashed the old material. It just doesn't work that way. And you guys don't compromise at all. And when I listen to Beyond the Red Mirror, it makes me feel really good. And it's huge. It's monstrous.
That's great. I mean, that's what we want to achieve. It's the only goal once we start writing new stuff is always we want to come up with something fresh. With something new. We don't want to repeat ourselves.
Right.
And I've been in a previous interview. I've been asked if we ever consider to go back into the direction of whatever previous album we might have done. And that's something we definitely try to avoid because this concept of going back to me sounds like repeat yourself, play it safe, don't risk anything, just repeat the formula that worked in the past. And that's not our attitude, If we would be doing this, I think the band would have broken up 15 years ago because that's boring. At least in our opinion, that's boring. We don't want to do this, We always want to take the next step, whatever that might be. Obviously, there are key elements to our sound, to the Blind Guardian sound, which we established over the years, and, we would be insane to just throw it away. We don't want this because, after all, that's the sound that we established and that we love, There will always be the choir elements, the guitar harmonies, and, all those things, the layering in the music. That's part of our key elements. But we always want to take it one step further. And like this, keep it fresh for ourselves on one hand, and obviously also for the fans, because I myself, I'm a music fan myself. It might be my profession, my job to play in a band, but nevertheless, I'm still a metal fan that goes out and buys album. And I also, when I buy a new album by one of my favorite bands, I want to hear something fresh, I don't want to hear a repetition of something that this band did in the past because I already have the previous album. I don't have to buy it again, If I want to hear it, I put on the original. And that's our attitude. We always try to take the next step, take it to another level, add fresh and surprising elements that still work in the Blind Guardian context. And like this, broaden our style with every new album. Always add new stuff.
That's true, because when I listen to the album, I feel it's huge. It seems like every aspect of this album was designed to be larger than life. So was this a conscious decision of, creating such a big sound, or it just came naturally?
I think both. And at some point, it's not that we were starting the songwriting with the idea, let's create something that's larger than life, let's top everything that we did so far. At some point, when we realized, for example, with the song The Ninth Wave, we wanted this choir, to open up the song. And at some point we knew, okay, this has to be a huge choir. It has to feel really, really big. It has to give you this Carmina Burana image in your mind. And we knew, okay, to achieve this, we need a huge choir. And in the end, we used 3 different choirs because, one choir wasn't enough to give it this size because, obviously you can have one choir and keep doubling it, but at some point it won't sound bigger anymore because it's still the same voices, At some point you will just get phase cancellations because you're just repeating the same voices all over again. So we had to work with different singers and had to involve more choirs. And so those things were designed to be big on purpose. But for us, the goal is always the song itself. It's not being big for the sake of being big or being bigger than something we did in the past for the sake of topping this. We don't care about this. The other day, somebody was asking us how many tracks we recorded for this album. It has been, so far, I think the biggest thing we did was, and then there was Silence and maybe Wheel of Time, for example. And somebody was asking if we used more tracks on this album. And we had to admit we had no idea, because that doesn't really matter for us, It's not, if we feel a song needs more parts, more takes of whatever, guitars, choirs, you name it, vocals, then we will record them.
Right.
But, only because we feel the song needs them, not because we want to record 10 takes more than last time, And to answer that question, we had to ask Charlie, and also he had to look it up. And in the end, yes, we used more tracks than ever before, but to be honest, I forgot how many, because it doesn't play a role for me, So, yeah, it's big, but not for the sake of being big, but for the sake of achieving something that we wanted to achieve.
That's amazing. Now, coming to your rhythm section, so when I listen to the album, it's bone crushing. You keep that melodic vibe. You keep the fans hooked to the rhythm section. So that makes me feel really proud to hear this music coming out from you, even after, being there for more than 3 decades.
That's what we love doing. It's just, the whole thing about being in Blind Guardian is loving what you do, I think, and that's the only thing how it can work for us, because, we just go for what we want to do, what we have in our minds, and I think we can only be good like this, because, if we would try to do something that we don't really feel, we would fail. I don't think we would be convincing in doing a kind of music or approaching in a way that we don't feel like doing, Technically, of course, we could do something different, I can play also different things on guitar because I just can't play guitar, but, I feel like doing this thing. And only when I do something that I really feel like doing, that I really want to do, then I'm good, I think. Then I'm at my top possible, abilities.
Right. Sounds really great. And Beyond the Red Mirror is actually thematically a continuation of subject matter from Imaginations from the Other Side. So was there
Yes.
of a plan to go back to that subject, or was it a spontaneous decision that you guys made when you were writing the album?
Actually, it happened by accident. When we started writing, there were no plans at all to go back anywhere. We just started writing new songs, and in the beginning, when we work on a new song, it's always the music that comes first. Hansi sings whatever comes to his mind. The only thing that matters is his melody line and the rhythm of the word that he's using. But the lyrics don't even have to make sense. Only when the song is done completely, musical-wise, then he starts writing the actual lyrics. And so in the beginning, we just started writing new songs. There was no idea at all about what direction the lyrics would be in, or even there was also no plan to do a concept album in the beginning. The idea for this actually came when we worked on the Best Of collection that we did, like, when was it, last year, previous year, before that, whenever, I forgot. But, when we were going through the old songs for that Best Of collection, then Hansi realized that there was some unfinished business on the Imagination album concerning this story that he started to tell back then. And that's when he had the idea to finally finish that story. And that's how the idea for the concept of this album was born. He came to us, talked to us about this idea, and we liked it. So we went for it.
That's awesome. Sounds really great. Now, Blind Guardian, has always been accredited as the godfathers of power metal. So, if I have to ask you personally, how do you feel about this claim?
I have to say, first of all, I don't really think about ourselves being godfathers of anything, because I think that kind of puts a burden on our shoulders that I don't even want to think about, because I think we're the godfathers of Blind Guardian.
That's a really good answer.
Yeah, that's something that I can live with. The funny thing is, seeing us as the godfathers of power metal, that puts a discussion in my mind that I read on the internet a couple of years ago already, when there were fans discussing about what kind of music we are playing. And there was the guy that started the discussion and our Blind Guardian are power metal.
Okay.
Then the next guy came in and said, no, that's not correct. They are speed metal. Okay. And the next one said, no, that's completely wrong. They're progressive metal. And the next one said, no, they are epic metal. And, they were all right because, all those elements are in our music.
Absolutely.
We just don't want to be limited to anything. If somebody says, oh, you're a speed metal band. Yes, we have a lot of speed metal songs. And we have a lot of songs that don't have to do anything with speed, But, they still are Blind Guardian songs. So for me, if somebody asks me, what kind of music are you guys playing? I say metal. Because that involves all that thing. Yeah, I say we're a metal band. We have fast songs. We have thrashy, very aggressive songs. We have mid-tempo stuff. We have ballads. We have epic orchestral stuff. We have folkloristic stuff. We have, you name it, we have it. And for us, in my opinion, we play metal. And, as I mentioned before, this Godfather thing, of course, it's an honor if somebody calls you the Godfather of whatever. Mm-hmm. But, for me, I don't think in that way. I don't see myself as the Godfather of anything. I see myself, I'm the guitar player of Blind Guardian. And, I'm in a team of a couple of friends that make music together, and we try to do our best.
Right.
That's how I see ourselves.
Wow, that sounds really great. Now, talking about live, you guys must be really excited to unleash the music live, because that's where the magic happens. So, any new songs which will be, on your upcoming tour?
We didn't, we put down together a list of 41, 42 songs that we started preparing for the upcoming shows. Uh-huh. And those 41 songs are actually old songs. Okay. And we did a couple of rehearsals because next week we'll fly to the USA to do this 70,000 tons of metal cruise. Right. But we won't play new songs on that cruise yet, because the album is not out yet, and we don't like playing new songs when nobody knows them yet. Right. So once we are back from that cruise, which will be by the end of that month, we will come back together in the rehearsal room, and then we start rehearsing the stuff for the real tour. We talked about 4 or 5 songs from the new album that we will start rehearsing. Mm-hmm. We will see how they work, so I can't really say yet if they all will end up in the set or if we change some of them. We will see. But the idea is to have at least 4 new songs in the set. There will be some evergreens, obviously, in the set, because otherwise people will crucify us if we don't play them. There will be some songs that actually we never ever played so far. Right. We put some on the list that we will finally be playing.
Nice. So
there will be some very old songs.
New material.
That's what we're aiming for. The mix, a bit of everything. There are a couple of ancient Blind Guardian songs that we were digging out, and we plan to play them. There's a bit of everything. Blind Guardian changed a lot over the years. Right. There are the very early days. There are days in Tales from the Twilight World and Somewhere Far Beyond. There's Nightfall and Imaginations and stuff like that. And we'll play a bit of everything. So I think it's going to be a great mix.
Awesome. So any new areas you guys are exploring for this particular, the upcoming tour? What about coming to India? You guys have enormous fans here.
I would love to. Absolutely love to. And, I can't say yet where, the thing is, the first part is confirmed already. So we'll be on the road in Europe for about 2.5, 3 months, starting in early April.
Nice.
And everything else is in the planning in the moment. Okay. The only thing I can tell you is that we will be on the road until the end of next year. So there's a lot of time. And I can just hope to be able to come finally, because I love playing in places where we haven't been before. It's always something special. You never know what to expect. You don't know how the people will react to certain songs, and the great thing about being a touring musician is that you are working for about 2 hours a day, and you have 22 hours of being a tourist. And, that's awesome. So I hope we can come finally. I know a lot of people are waiting for us. So far, it never worked for various reasons. I hope we'll be able to come this time. That's all I can say in the moment. I can't promise anything, but we can make it for sure.
That's right. It'll be an honor seeing you guys live. I mean, none of the power metal bands have actually come to India so far, so having Blind Guardian on board would really be an honor.
It would be very, very special for us. We will try everything to make it true.
That's awesome. Marcus, so how about I conclude the interview by asking you a very simple question to define the new album Beyond the Red Mirror in just one sentence.
Oh, that's difficult.
That's the idea.
I think, how would I put it? Beyond the Red Mirror is everything Blind Guardian has ever been about, plus everything beyond.
Fantastic, Marcus Sapien. As an honor having you with us here on Metal Vani. Thank you once again,
Hey, it's been my
look
pleasure.
forward to see you live soon.
I hope it will happen. Hope to see you very soon, my friend.